Hello, hello, hello. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Welcome. This should be pretty exciting times. So, yeah, if you have any questions, I'm just going to keep getting set up. But if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Like, why do I stream with Bedhead? Who's going to come in a second? Hey, bud. Get your thing. And so that's it. I'm just gonna keep getting ready, and yeah, we'll start in just a couple minutes. Can you close the door?
When are you gonna make the smoothie?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm plugged in today. I hope that everything works. This is saying my keyframe frequency is 4 seconds or less. Pretty sure that shouldn't be true. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can update that in place or if I have to start over. All right, so we got about 5 minutes. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer any of those. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out if I can continue to stream this well. Okay. All right. If you have any troubles with the stream, let me know. It should be coming. Shoot. Yeah, it's still complaining about keyframes. So I'm going to stop this and start it over again. It shouldn't, I'm hoping it doesn't make me restart a new stream, but it should be fine. But the stream might stop just for a second, but I'll be right back. Hey, how's it going? And was it Grigoris? Did I get that right? Grigoris? Welcome. I apologize for butchering your name. You can tell me how to pronounce it. I'll do it right the next time. Still complaining about my stream. Just changed the bit rate. All right. Well, I think that's going to be as good as it gets. We'll see. We will see. Okay, we got like a minute and a half. I'm surprised you don't have any questions. You should see I think you can see it. There's some epic bedhead going on this morning. I was actually thinking about just doing these, just embracing it and just getting a robe and like doing my morning streams in a robe. Just full dad life. Just a couple more things I'm gonna get set up. 1 minute to go. Should be exciting. Oh, hey, we're from bad back to okay. This is an improvement. I do hope that we get back to good. This would be my dream. I bought a whole bunch of new stuff so that we could I could be plugged into the router so everything goes up online as fast as possible, and not combat with the rest of my wireless networking stuff. So I don't know. We shall see if that works. I might lose hope if this doesn't work. This has been like quite a challenge just figuring out how to stream. I'm always open to feedback. So if you are a professional streamer and you know things, I like to know things too. What happened, Sid? What's the problem? You said, oh no. Did it break up again? I'm going to reload this page. Hopefully nothing breaks. Okay, let's see. Okay, I just want to see. I'm going to hit play, see if it connects live. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I'm going to assume that everything's working great. And yeah, just kind of move on. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope that this is valuable for you. My goal today is to explore React Suspense. I don't really know that much about it. I have seen videos. I've read a couple posts, so I'm familiar with the terms. I'm kind of vaguely familiar with what you have to do to get it started, but I have not actually used it. I've not integrated it into any of my apps or even played with it really for that matter. So this will be a new experience for me, but hopefully we'll kind of uncover some of the pain points as you that you might find and try to navigate around them. But yeah, that's my experience, which is no experience. So we'll be kind of struggling through this at the same time. If you you can feel free to follow along. I'm going to be moving fairly slowly, and yeah, if you know anything that I don't, or if you see anything, just pop in the chat. I will see it eventually. Or if you have a question as we move along, I would love to know what they are. I've been up since 4 o'clock for whatever reason. I woke up, and because I'm getting older, I could not go back to sleep, and it was super rough. So voice is a little tense this morning. Okay, so the first thing is I want to start from a fresh slate, so you know that I don't have anything up my sleeves, and build this with using a new Create React app. So to do that, I'm going to use NPX. For the uninitiated, NPX is a tool in the NPM toolchain set that allows you to run commands without having to first install them globally. So usually you'd have to like npm install create React app and run that, and you'd have to keep it up to date, which is kind of irritating in the case of create React app because there's notoriously going to be updates every time you go and run that, which is kind of silly to have to update it and then run it every time. So what npx does is it allows you to run these commands. It's going to just get the freshest stuff and then run that one time and clean up after itself. Now, there's some really cool stuff too about npx, where packages that are like for initializing projects, if they are prefixed with create, you can actually use npx create as a command. And just so you know, I'm not lying, I'm gonna run that with a help flag. Oh, nope, stupid. Npx create help. Nope. npx help create. Let's Google it. This thing's making a lot of noise. Let's see. So yeah, so this is not using that, but this document is all about npx. You can read about that later. npx create. I know it's going to be on here somewhere. Wow. Well, you're just going to have to believe me then. That's wild. npx create react app. It's not going to work because I didn't give it a name. This is the 4 a.m. Affecting me right now. We're going to call this Suspense Fun. Installed 1. Apparently, I totally lied about that create command. You win some, you lose some. Okay, so this is going to run npm. So this is going to run our create React app called Suspense Fun. Obviously, this always takes a little bit of time to initialize that project. One thing that I'm super curious about is that I know that all of the things that are so you have to use the canary versions of React, and I don't know if they've been tested on this yet, so we may have some problems, we may not, we'll find out. So cd suspense fun, and then let's yarn start just to see that everything works. Oh, this is fun. So I'm getting an error. Actually, seen this before, and it doesn't seem related to anything that we're doing. We just freshly installed this stuff, so I'm not sure what that's about. I'm going to opt out. Hopefully that doesn't hurt me, and just kind of add this line to that .env file. So just throw that right in there. Cool. So that's in there. If we run yarn start again, it should work. It's going to kick up the wrong browser though. I've been trying to use Safari as my default browser. I really like it because it's super well integrated. All the like sharing and like tabs across devices is amazing. But the dev tools are not my favorite, and in particular, it doesn't have any React dev tools. So that totally sucks. Wow. Computer is churning right now. Okay, let's open that up in an editor. While we're waiting for that, I want to see if we can change the browser. So create React app default browser. I'm going to see if that's kind of an env thing that we can do. Can you hear my computer going? Let's see. This opens up a PR. Should fix it. Let's see if this. Interesting. Do any of you know how to do this? Let's see. Okay. Thought maybe it'd be super easy and upfront because I'm going to have to restart this server a bunch, but it doesn't look like it. So we have our app. Now, Suspense is not in any of the, or in the bundled version. So let's see what the bundled version is before we start, or the package version in Create React App. So it's pulling down React 16.5.2 and React DOM 16.5.2. We are going to need newer versions than that. So, or not newer. Those are the latest kind of public versions that we have. What we want are the ones that are the kind of the fresh canary builds, the ones that aren't quite stable yet, but have some features that are being actively worked on. So we're going to kill this, and we're going to yarn add react at canary. It's the word for the freshy fresh shit. And react DOM at canary. So that should go and fetch those for us and update this. I'm amazed at how long this is taking for whatever reason. Okay, cool. So it installed 16.6.0.alpha with this hash on the end. Now that should be good enough to get us the unstable suspense features. So that's awesome. Maybe this one. Let me close that one. It looks like my stream's still uploading well. If you're having trouble, let me know. I'm gonna open up Twitter too, so just holler at me in Twitter if things are looking broken. Okay, so we have that. Let's just see. So we got let's go to our index.js. Okay, I don't want this confusing things. I don't know. Maybe it won't, but I don't really want to mess with it. So I'm going to take those service workers out just so I don't accidentally fall into some failures, just kind of limit the scope of what I am working on. Good gracious. I need like 2 computers to do all this stuff. Come on. Okay. Gosh, I really hope not everything takes that long. So one of the first things that we need to do now, there are two options that I think that React is going to give you for opting into Suspense. Now, the first one is that there's a component that will be published. I think the idea is it's called like concurrent mode, and you would be able to. Great, now my Vim stopped. The computer is like at a standstill right now. This is very, very testing. Okay. All right, so Vim mode is refusing to work for me. Anyway, so there's this idea that you'd be able to use concurrent mode, and so you could just select certain parts of the tree and wrap the concurrent mode component around those, and kind of opt those into these suspense-like features, or you can just kind of have suspense control the whole tree. That's what we're gonna do this morning. And that requires a change at the site where you're rendering the component. So this changes a little bit. I got no Vim, so I'm gonna do this. So we're going to say, so that API looks like will eventually be create root. And what you do is you're going to wrap your document.getElement by ID in create root. Now, because that's not a stable API yet, and the name might change, it's currently prefixed with unstable. Oh, Matt says the Vim mode thing is an issue with VS Code. And yes, so had it kind of like go in and out, but never like in one session. Like it'll be like I'll fire it up and it won't work, and then I'll just kind of like restart it and it's fine. So I'm not sure why it's. I think there must be something like I think VS Code is just generally pissed at me right now. Because it's just moving dog slow. I don't know if you can see it on there anyway, but so back to this. The unstable create root is what we're going to use. Again, that will be create root eventually, but not right now. Now that we've moved that into unstable create root, we can take this off and we just render our app from that root. Now, if we did this all right, everything should work as it did before, except now we are in this concurrent async mode. So that's cool. So that's step number one. That's the first step. We got that done. So let's open our app.js file. The ironic part is that I thought I'd been having some problems on Code Sandbox with the performance and the streaming stuff. So I decided to do this because I thought it would be faster. Obviously not. Obviously mistaken. Okay, so from here, what's the next thing that we need to do? So so there's a handful of things that we need to do when we're using this like React Suspense. So we one of the things that it does is it works all on these like caches, or at least that's my understanding, is that you have you have a cache and you create a resource for it, and then every time you load a resource it will cache that thing for like future requests. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Oh, Vim mode's back, praise the Lord. So we're going to need to import something that handles that. And this is right now, it is simple cache provider. And two functions we're using are create cache, like that, and create resource. So these are the functions that we're going to use to create a cache, create a resource as we request resources. We're going to create an actual cache value. Cache equals create cache. This takes a like reset function where I guess if you call like reset or purge or something like that on it, it will call that function and kind of set it back to 0. And that function can be anything. So depending on how you want to set up your cache, you have full control over what happens in there. Right now, I'm not super worried about that. And then we're also going to have we're going to set up a Pokemon. So we're going to call that Pokemon resource, and that's going to be create resource. Now, this takes, let's see, my understanding is that we would use this just like we would with fetch. So if we were going to fetch a Pokemon, let me copy that URL because I don't really remember it. There's this really cool API called Poke API. And today is not my day. So then we would just do our traditional stuff. So then take the response, call .json on it. So that's how our like normal fetch would look. What we need to do in here is we need to call function and return that. So I am using these things, which I haven't installed. I'm so nervous to go back to here, but let's do it. So npm, nope, yarn add simple cache provider. Hopefully I can do that without a restart because that just crushed me last time. No. Looks like I might get very good at talking today. Let's see, is there anything else that I need to install? Because I should do that now. Let's see, yarn add simple cache provider. Field compile, parse error. Oh, duh. From. I ain't putting no from in that. Okay, cool. So we have that set up. We have our cache. I'm just curious if I can if I can even do this. What that cache looks like. see. So we have an object. There's an invalidate function on it, preload function, and a read function. Read is the one that I think we'll be doing to pull values off of the cache. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're moving along. And then let's see if that is making that XHR yet. Yes. No, it's not. Okay, cool. So we can see that even though we've like placed this, we have this fetch going on. It's not being, or we've added this fetch. It's not actually being called because we haven't read the value. So that's also good to know. Very cool. So how do we start reading that value? Let's dive into that. So my natural inclination is to just put this here and see what happens. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's do it. So we'll say let Pokemon, let's call this Pokemon collection. Since Pokemon's a non-countable noun, this is probably a really bad example because it's going to be Pokemon for the plural and the singular. So I'm going to call this Pokemon collection. We'll do, let's see, Pokemon resource dot read and pass that cache in. Unexpected token. Let's see, I wonder if I'm doing that like let Pokemon read cache. Oh, duh. This is a class. Okay, cool. So now it is making that XHR request. That's redundant. That request, but it is complaining now. Let's see. We have a warning and an error. The warning says Pokemon collection is assigned a value but never used. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can use it. So we'll do an unordered list. List item Pokemon.name. Nope. A little eager there. Pokemon. Why are you doing this to me? Okay, so we're going to spit out the Pokemon.name for each of these in a list item. Remove it. Remove Sunil. Remove what? Oh, remove let. Oh yeah, it was So the problem was I was doing it in the class. I in my mind this was a functional component, and I had it up here. I had to just move it inside a render. This was my problem. Okay, so now we need to loop over what we have. So actually, I'm going to do that. So we're going to say Pokemon collection dot results. That's just how the API is. Dot map. And we'll move this inside of here. Take Pokemon. That should work. Okay, cool. So we got rid of the warning message, but we still have this error. So let's see. The above error occurred in app component. Consider adding an error boundary to your tree to customize error handling. And then it gives me a link. Let's start there. So I know that they give me this nice little error boundary component that I can use. So we'll pop that in. And wrap our component with it. Log error to my service. An update was suspended, but no placeholder UI was provided. So now I think what's happening is just in the same way that like error boundaries need to have these kind of component boundaries. So this is the parent of this component, but not the owner. I think that we need to kind of create we need to create a component boundary around all this. So let's pull out a component for this. It's just a hunch. Let's see, Pokemon. Let's call this the Pokemon collection component. So we're going to delete that out of there. And we're going to take this UI chunk. We're going to put that in there with a return. Then we're going to render Pokemon collection. See what we get now. Something went wrong. Okay. Update was suspended, but no placeholder. Okay, so we have our error boundary. I'm assuming that the error boundary caught that. Yes, because I didn't write something went wrong anywhere. So the error boundary is catching that, and then it should be logging our error, which is this one right here, I believe. The above occurred in Pokemon collection. React will try to recreate this component tree from scratch using the error boundary you provided. Okay, cool. So let's see. So let's kind of like recount where we are. We have our app component. It's rendering an error boundary. Inside of that, a Pokemon collection, which uses these new cache features to create a resource, or to like read that resource into the cache and then render that Pokemon. So we have the Pokemon collection, we have the results, we're mapping over them. Let me just make sure. Let me render that out and see, or log that out. Doesn't seem to want to log. Oh, I wonder if I don't have access to that data here. So if you're just tuning in, this is me exploring React Suspense from the handful of things that I know about it. I do not really know exactly what I'm doing. This is all kind of an exploration for me. Let's see if that changes if I put this inside of render. No. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So that's not giving us what we want. An update was suspended, but no placeholder UI was provided. Let's see. So I know that there is the, what is it? This kind of suspense component. So let's try wrapping it in that and see if that helps us out. We're going to call that through React because right now it is also unstable prefixed. To the best of my knowledge, we can't do that because of this lowercase letter here. So we'll just call it through React. Suspense. Whoa. Okay. Okay. So our error goes away now that we've done that. And it works. Okay. Cool. So, I guess anytime we have these components that have used these kind of suspendable caches, I don't know what the terminology is there. Anytime we have something that does this, we need to maybe wrap it in this suspense component. Okay, cool. So that works. We don't have any placeholders. So I want to know, I'm curious how I can get this to break now. So let's see if I put throttling on. Let's just go like DSL or whatever. I don't want to wait too long. Okay, that didn't do anything. Okay, so I'm not sure at this point what's rendering and what should be loading a spinner. So maybe let's put something in here. I don't know if this is a good test or if we need to make another component. Let's just make another component. Okay, so then we'll render that. Okay. It doesn't necessarily need to be a component, but I'm not too confident in where these like boundaries lie. Okay, so if I run that again, it looks like it's not. It looks like the whole thing is kind of rendering once I get this data. So like maybe it's like Firefox is like delaying that fetch because the response isn't taking any longer. It's just kind of like delaying it, or delaying sending it out. So let's do something else. I think I'm curious if we sleep the what is it? If we sleep the promise, if that'll do what we want it to do. Oops, yarn add sleep promise. I think that's the library. This will allow us to be able to kind of like insert a sleep call and kind of tell it to like kind of before it resolves the promise fully to sleep it for a little second. Import sleep from sleep promise. So then we would insert a then here with sleep of, let's do 1,000. See if it works. Okay, let's turn throttling off. Cool. Okay, so that sleep's getting inserted. It's working for the most part. Okay, cool. Okay, so the next step is we should, I think we need to provide a fallback. I think that's the API for it. And we just give it a component or an element. Interesting. So that didn't do anything for me by itself. In the videos I've seen, there's also a like delay milliseconds prop. So maybe we need to do that. Let's have it show up immediately if we can. Nothing. Interesting. So I know in like the videos, they were showing a lot of like how this kind of like manages transitions from one thing to another. I don't want to necessarily like kind of like go and just rewatch those videos with you watching. That would be kind of silly. But this is an open question for me. We're also kind of like hitting up on the end of like the 45 minutes I'd planned on doing this. But these are open questions for me. So what have we learned so far? I can get this out of here. I'm just going to kind of summarize what we have so far, and then I'll kind of do a little bit more research and then come back tomorrow and maybe do the same, do a little bit more once I learn a little bit more about this process. So first, let's open up the index. So the first thing that we needed to do is we needed to give, we needed to kind of prepare our app for this concurrent model of development. So we have, just a second. Okay, cool. Still working. So we have this create root, and that changes just instead of calling React DOM.render and giving it the component to render as well as the document.getElementById. We're now preparing this this element with this create root function and then calling render on the result of that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we need to use this simple cache provider. We create a cache. We can call it whatever we want. It has this reset function if you have a special way of resetting it. That has methods on it. We kind of looked at those. Let's log those out again. So it's an object with functions invalidate, preload, and read. We're sorry, someone's walking around my backyard right now. It's just the long guy. We have let's see. So we are creating that cache. It has those functions. We are creating a resource using the other method that's provided to us there, create resource. Fetching, just doing a standard fetch. Right now we're sleeping only because I wanted to see if I could kind of force that that fallback state. I couldn't, unfortunately, and then we're just resolving as usual. Our Pokemon kind of as a local variable to this functional component defines this variable by reading from the cache and then kind of doing a very standard mapping over that list. And then in order to get that to render the first time, obviously it was like I guess, suspending that update because that was the error that we were getting when we, so I'll take this out real quick so we can get that error state again. Let's see what it was. The error was an update was suspended, but no placeholder UI was provided. So we added that back in. That got us to rendering, but we can't seem to get this to render our fallback. So I don't know if that's placeholder. Is that what we need to? Yeah. So that didn't really seem to do it either. Again, these APIs are not quite documented yet, so it could just be that these have different names, and I am not getting it right. But these, I think fallback or placeholder was what was used in the demos that I saw, and that does not seem to be doing the trick. So the questions that I have are, am I just structuring this wrong? Does Suspense solve a different problem from this like first load? Or are these props wrong? And I'd be able to kind of get that. That would work otherwise. I think I'm really curious. Before I leave, I want to try one more thing, and I want to see if we can use the old render style with that concurrent mode function. So we're gonna kind of undo what I did here in the beginning. We'll save that. It should kind of break dramatically. Whoa. Weird. All right, so maybe you don't need that other thing, because that's doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. All right, let's try it anyway then. Let's see what else we can learn. React dot unstable concurrent mode. Element is invalid. Okay, so maybe that's not. Oh, unstable. Heaven knows why I did that. JSX. What the heck is going on with me? Yeah, so Giuseppe, yes, placeholder was a component. It was changed recently in the build that went out to be suspense. So right now it's unstable underscore suspense. But yeah, it is the same component as far as I'm aware that placeholder was. Okay, so the way that I started was completely wrong, because now I don't know if this is subject to change, but as soon as I change this back to render from unstable create root and all of that nonsense, this started showing me that loader again. Okay. And then this unstable concurrent mode kind of made no difference in this case. So I don't know. Yeah, so in this case, we really didn't need to do the kind of change this up. I don't know what that's about, but we'll see. So we have, let's change the milliseconds on this to, I don't want to show a spinner for the first 100 milliseconds. I mean, I guess we're not seeing a spinner. Let's see if I can delay that even further. We should see Pokemon pop up, then loading, and then the content. Again, it could be that this changed. This API is called something, or this prop is something different now, maybe. I'm going to put placeholder, and I think we should get an error that says that there was no fallback content. Okay, no error. It just doesn't do anything. So fallback is definitely our fallback API for this new suspense component. This doesn't seem to be doing anything for me yet, so let's see if delay works. No. So I don't know how to make this do anything at the moment. So that's kind of my remaining question, along with why didn't the other thing do anything, or why does this already work with the concurrent mode stuff? Maybe that's the intention. Maybe this render should work in the right version of React DOM. Yeah, so that is all I have for today. We've been going at this for about 50 minutes, and that's usually when I start to get too tired and weird to talk. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. You can always hit me up on Twitter. That's I'm there all the time at Chantastic. And yeah, if you know any of the answers to my remaining questions, I would love to know what they are. But so far, we got the we got the list with the cache, with the resource and the loading all working, save for that delay. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty all right about that so far. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to get notified when I do another live video. Maybe tomorrow I'll have an answer for that delay milliseconds. Thanks for being here. See you next time.